All right, I think we are live here on PMC Lounge Live. Hello, everyone. Greetings and warm welcome to yet another exciting live session here at PMC Lounge. Our efforts are basically to do a live every week. And here we are this week. You already know the topic if you have read the title of this video. And we are essentially excited to be going live. Um, we basically delve deep into project management to provide insights that you can use to elevate your career, and that is essentially why we are talking about new project managers today, right? Now, if you're just starting out in the field of project management, or if you're climbing the ladder of success, or you could be a seasoned project management professional, the content that we share in these live sessions, these are going to be helpful regardless of where you are in your project management journey. So buckle up, prepare for today's session, and it's a guarantee that it is going to be an enlightening experience for sure, without any doubt. So here's a brief about me. You can read about me, who I am, and our channel, of course, PMC Lounge. I hope you're sitting comfortably with a snack or maybe a refreshing glass of water, because staying hydrated, that is essential. That's the key, right? So whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay, we are totally delighted to have you here. Feel free to join the conversation in the chat if you are watching live. We are eager to hear your thoughts, actually. And for our replay audience, definitely drop comments, toss in some likes, and share these videos so that you can help us spread the knowledge and we can reap the benefits together. Now, our live sessions, they are typically divided into three parts. The first one is the welcome, which we are doing right now, just basically giving some time for folks to join in, and then the feature content, and then it is followed by last call, where we basically tie things down. So you can always take a look at the sections above. The present one, the current section, will always be highlighted in blue. So you can obviously see that we are right now welcoming you to this live session. All right, so what exactly is pmclounge.com? You are here on the pmclounge.com, either on the website or on our YouTube channel. Consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. But what exactly is pmclounge.com? So now you might be joining us live for the first time, or you might be catching the replay. So just a heads up, PMC that you see in PMC Lounge, this stands for Project Management Certifications. And we are all about PMP and various other project management related certifications. You name it, ACP, CSM, right? We have videos on concepts of all those certifications. But there is definitely more to us than just the exams. We are your go-to source for staying updated on the latest in project management industry trends, project management reports, and all other good stuff. Our mission has always been to simplify project management, and that's what you see here, simplifying project management. We want to break down complex topics into easily understandable language in the form of these videos or the articles that you're going to find on pmclounge.com, so that anyone can understand what project management is all about. Anyone can prepare for the PMP or ACP or CSM exam or the CAPM exam, and anyone can get into the field of project management. We are one of the largest YouTube channel out there. We are one of the largest project management community out there. And there are tons and tons of videos on this channel that can help you pass your PMP exam. Loads of our members, community members, have passed their exam. So definitely subscribe, definitely make use of all the resources that we have here. By the way, we are also active on all other socials, as you can see. Definitely check us out on our Facebook group or page, LinkedIn group or page, Twitter handle, and then definitely go ahead, join our Telegram channel because that is where you are going to get all the updates. All right, moving on. Here's a quote for today before we go into the feature content. And the quote is, project management is like juggling three balls: time, cost, and quality. They're not talking about scope here, but it says time, cost, and quality. Program management is like a troupe of circus performers standing in a circle, each juggling three balls and swapping balls from time to time. So, balls are being swapped as well when we talk about program management. This is a good quote to understand the difference between project management and program management. But honestly speaking, I think this is a bit dated because you're just talking about uh, three things here: time, cost, and quality. But project management has evolved so much in the last 2 decades or 1.5 decades that it is no longer about just the triple constraints, right? Your scope, cost, schedule, quality. It's not just about that anymore. Project managers today are expected to know and understand the business side of their projects, the business side of the things, right? You are expected to understand what is the business value that a certain project you're working on is going to deliver in the market. Program managers are expected to keep track of whether the business value is being delivered or not, right? And what changes can be done, what new projects can be introduced to expand on the value that is being delivered. So, while I really appreciate the quote, I think it is a bit dated. If you can relate or if you have anything you want to add, definitely drop in the comment and we can continue the conversation there. All right, so that was all for our welcome content. Let's talk about the feature content today, and it's all about 10 tips for new project managers. Now, one thing very important that I want to highlight here: when we say new project managers, obviously someone who's just getting into the project management domain, right? Someone who's landed a project manager job recently, he or she is definitely a new project manager. But sometimes you might have 5, 8, 10 years of project management experience, but managing different kinds of projects. And it is possible that with the coming of AI, machine learning, you get a project that you have never delivered in the past, right? You are now 10 years into project management career, but now you are delivering a project that you have never really handled in the past. You in this scenario is also someone who is a new project manager because you're dealing with a totally new field, a totally new subject, a totally new kind of project. And that is why this video is important. That is why we are going to be talking about 10 tips for new project managers. All right, so being a project manager, even for those with years of experience, being a project manager is definitely not an easy task, right? Project managers, they require a wealth of on the job experience and knowledge. Skills range from developing leadership abilities to effective communication and even goal setting. And this is where I touched upon earlier that it is important that project managers today just not focus on the triple constraints, right? They should just not focus on the triple constraints because there's so much more to do in the field of project management. You are supposed to lead and you are supposed to have goals around your projects, around your programs, around the business value of your projects. And that is actually one of the key reasons why project managers are required to know a lot of things, and it is not an easy task for sure. All right, value of project management. Now, there are challenges for sure, but being a project manager adds significant value to a professional resume. If you have been a project manager, you are open to several roles, other roles as well, not just project management roles. You are open to leadership roles. You are open to roles where you're required to lead people. And project management as such is not a industry specific role, right? So you are actually open to different industries as well. And this is where I touched upon the point that even if you have been a project manager for a few years in the past, if you have changed your industry, you should watch this video. You should treat yourself as a new project manager, because there is definitely going to be a learning curve in the picture. All right, let's talk about what is the purpose of our live session today. Although I've been touching upon it, but the 10 tips that we are going to discuss today, they are going to aid new project managers in finding success, right? And even if you are someone who have been working in project management, you're dealing with new kind of projects, these tips are going to help you out. And these strategies, they are going to assist in conquering current projects and preparing for even more challenging roles in the future. So if you're a new project manager, if you're someone who wants to get into project management, then these 10 hacks are going to help you, and these 10 hacks are going to take you to a long way. Because even if you're not a project manager yet, it is likely that you're going to learn something from this session today that you can use in your project management job interview. All right, so let's get started with point number one, and that is understanding the full scope of the project. And it is an immature mistake not to look at the bigger picture, not to look at the entire project, right? So definitely as a new project manager, you must understand the entire scope that your project has. So never start blind. Avoid starting a new project without a clear understanding of the scope. And like I said, this is a very immature mistake. And if you proceed blindly, it can lead to failure, and it is obviously going to have negative consequences. Number two is thorough examination. Now, we are talking about just the first hack here, just the first step, understanding the full scope of the project. Within this, the second point is thorough examination. So take the time to dissect and understand every detail of the project scope. You have to comprehensively analyze, because it is going to ensure clarity and it is going to minimize surprises later on. Finally, there is importance of preparation, right? So you might be excited to begin a new project, and that is understandable, but thorough preparation is actually very crucial. Investing time in preparation is going to pay off by aiding goal achievement and reducing the need of significant adjustments later on in your project. So point number one is all about understanding the scope of the project, right? You might be excited, you might want to just kick off the project and get started, right? But it is very, very important to understand the kind of scope you are dealing with here. So it is an immature mistake, like I said, but if you're a seasoned project management professional, changing industries, changing the kind of projects, sometimes you might fall into this trap of kicking off a project without even understanding the entire scope of the project. Now, second point is all about understanding the project's top priorities. Now, what does this mean, right? Let's start off with understanding the project scope. So we touched upon this in the previous point itself. You have grasped the project scope. Now you need to prioritize the tasks accordingly. You need to identify tasks that need immediate attention, those that can wait, and those that are required to, those that basically warrant some advanced planning. So in the first step, you understood the scope of the project. And now that you have understood the project scope, you want to break down the scope into certain tasks. Not each project, not every project is going to follow the same set of tasks, right? So it is important to break down the scope of the project into different tasks that you need to perform. And that is how the understanding of the project is going to basically be enhanced. Now, you need to identify the task, which is what we've been talking about. Recognizing tasks crucial for early stage project progress. This is important. And then determine which tasks can be deferred and which are tasks that necessitate advanced planning. So this is again not diving too deep into the scope, into the technical aspect of the project, but at a broad level, understanding the tasks that are required to be performed, right? If you're, let's say, let's take an example, right? So if you're working on a software development project, it is possible that you don't have to procure anything. It is possible that you don't need to do anything related to procurement management because this project does not require you to procure anything. But if you're doing a hardware based project, a IT hardware based project, you're setting up a new office or whatever, and you need to procure some, let's say, networking switches or whatever. So then procurement is required. And this is going to be a task in itself. And that is the essence of the second point here. You need to map out the top priorities of the project by understanding the scope, by identifying the tasks so that you can avoid bottlenecks as well later on. If you do not prioritize the tasks, right? So let's say if you are working on that IT hardware project, right? And you know that you need to procure some switches, which might not be available in the country that you're living in, which might be available in another country, and maybe your project needs to import that hardware. So then you do realize that this task is important, this task is time consuming, and you need to essentially ensure that this task falls in the critical path so that the rest of the project can be planned in a way that this task, the importing of IT hardware, does not delay the entire project. So this is why identifying the task, understanding the scope, identifying tasks, and then avoiding bottlenecks is important, right? So if you don't do that, obviously you are going to face slowdowns in your project. If you're not able to prioritize tasks, it can obviously result in project failure as well. You might complete everything that is required prior to the procurement of IT hardware switches, and then once you're done and you feel like now is the good time to start off with procurement, we are done with planning, we are done with laying the groundwork, and let's go ahead and procure switches. And you go there and you get to know that it is going to take 2 months to procure the hardware that you need, which means there is a delay of 2 months because you should have started this activity 2 months prior, right? So this is something which is again very important, something that new project managers actually miss out on, and something that if you are dealing with new kind of projects, if you're dealing with projects in another industry, and you do not map out the requirement of procurement, you do not map out that the time that it is going to take to procure, then it is possible that your project is leading towards failure. Your project is going to slow down. It is going to cause some disasters. Number 3 is setting realistic goals and milestones. So how do you set realistic goals, right? The first thing that a lot of project managers need to do is to stop playing the hero, right? Don't attempt the impossible. A lot of project managers, especially new ones, especially those that have not been in the industry for a long time, they fall into the trap of heroics, right? Avoid that at all cost. Prioritize realism over heroics. Understand the fact that you are the project manager, you're the one who's leading here, but make sure whatever decision that you're taking, right? Make sure the goals that you're setting, the milestones that you're setting, right? Do not promise the moon to anyone, but make sure your team is comfortable in the kind of goals and milestones that you're setting. Avoid heroics. Make reality, make realism your best friend, right? Companies seek projects to progress as planned, emphasizing the importance of setting achievable goals. A lot of companies do that as well. And secondly is milestone breakdown. So you need to divide the project goals into measurable micro goals, or they can be called milestones as well. This is going to give you clarity, and this is also going to increase the accountability. Now, breaking down milestones enhances team morale and it obviously boosts productivity, because the biggest reason for that is that it shows progress. If your project is broken down into 10 milestones and you've already achieved milestone number 2 or milestone number 3, your team gets that boost, right? Your team gets that productivity boost and the confidence that, yeah, we are actually 30% done in this project and we need to complete the remaining 70%. So that is why having milestones, having realistic goals are important. All right, let's talk about hack number 4, which is embracing leadership and taking charge. Project manager is a leadership role. You are a program manager, that is also a leadership role, right? You are going to deal with so many people and you are supposed to lead them. So this is something that you should pay attention to. Point number 1 under embracing leadership and taking charge is embracing the leadership role. You as a project manager, you must be willing to take charge of all project components, of all the team members. Never ever walk into a project thinking like, I'm just one of the team members, right? You are the leader here. It is your responsibility to ensure that the team performs. It is your responsibility to ensure the project succeeds. So you're not just other project team member. You are the leader here. You have to take the leadership position and do projects where you are willing to take that leadership that leadership role. You have to embrace this with confidence and you have to be open about it as well. So embrace leadership role with confidence and openness. Let's talk about navigating challenges now. So as a project manager, the one thing that you should expect is challenges, because you're going to get challenges throughout the life of your project, right? So expect challenges and obstacles throughout the project life cycle, but you have to demonstrate confidence because that is going to be crucial. As I said, you are the leader here. You are in a leadership position, right? So the project team members are essentially looking up to you. As a leader of the project, you need to demonstrate confidence. You need to demonstrate that things are under control. And obviously, don't fake this, but ensure that you take charge of things and you ensure that things are under your control, right? Whatever that's required for it, you need to ensure that team's morale and performance is not negatively impacted. You cannot run away if the project goes to the dogs, right? Now, finally, the third point in this is guidance and support. Team members are going to rely on the project manager for guidance and support. And this doesn't mean that you need to know the technicalities of the project in and out, because the team members are going to come to you and say that, hey, we are not able to code this module or we are not able to test this module. Can you help us code or can you help us test? That is not what I'm talking about here, because nobody is going to ask you to do that. The point is that they might require moral support. They might require support in terms of planning as well, right? They might want you to maybe delay a milestone by 2 days. And that's when you need to take a call. That's when you need to support the team. That's when you need to guide the team. How can we meet this milestone? How can we avoid this delay? And if that is not possible, let's delay and let's understand its impact on the rest of the project. So that is the kind of guidance and support your team expects from you. As a project manager, you should be prepared to take charge and lead the team effectively. All right, let's talk about the next point here. Point number 5, which is all about building strong team relationships and collaboration. Again, related to people management, but you need to put in the efforts. You need to invest time in building strong relationships with your team members. You need to increase effort in relationship building. It is going to lead to enhanced teamwork and, of course, even the productivity towards the shared goals. And this is where, since we are talking about goals, I'd like to remind you that the goals that you set, the milestones that you set, they should be democratically baselined or democratically, if I can speak here, uh, be finalized, right? It should not be that you as a project manager define certain goals or define certain milestones on your own. You need to involve the rest of the team as well. And if you do so, that is when the team members are going to have that shared responsibility. And that is also one of the efforts that you can put in to build your relationship with the team. You have to encourage team commitment as well. Strong relationships, they motivate team members to go above and beyond whenever necessary. It could be working extra hours or taking on additional tasks. This is something that you can ask for only if you have good working relationship with your team, right? A connected team is more likely to support each other and strive for success collectively. Now, at the same time, while we are talking about team dynamics and team relationships, you should also understand individual dynamics as well, right? Because aside from your project, aside from how you define the project team as a group of people working on a certain project and ensuring that a certain project goal is achieved, you also need to understand as a leader of this project that there are individuals. End of the day, a team is made up of individuals, and these individuals also have certain goals, right? These individuals also have certain aspirations. So this is why you need to know each team member individually as well, and you need to identify the strengths and weaknesses of your team members. Understanding individual dynamics, it aids in effective task delegation and team management as well. I'll give you an example. So if you know that someone likes to work during the night as well, right? Someone who does not like to, this same person does not like to log in early morning but likes to work towards the end of the day and is at his or her peak productivity towards the end of the day or maybe at night, right? Late evenings. So if you know this, if you get to know this person, if you speak to them about their work hours and the habits that they have when it comes to work, you will realize that okay, this person likes to work till late in his or her evenings. If I want to collaborate with a team member who is in a different time zone, this person might be the right fit because he or she anyways works till late evenings, right? Which might be morning for the person on the other side of the globe, right? So this is why understanding individual team members is also important on your project. Finally, let's talk about leading by example. This is crucial. This is the key. As a project manager, you have to be willing to jump in and assist the team whenever needed. You have to gain respect and foster a collaborative environment. You cannot run away. You cannot shy away. You should always be in the mode of rolling up your sleeves and getting down to work. Because if you're someone who's seen as, you know, basically remote controlling the project and not trying to get in and achieve and work with the team, then that causes a negative connotation on your team. That has a negative impact. So as a project manager, you have to lead by example. You need to be someone who is ready to support the team, ready to work with the team whenever needed. The example that I took about how a certain team member in your team likes to work till late, and you can essentially ask him or her to work with the person on the other side of the globe because they might be comfortable in terms of their work hours, right? If required, and if you are also required to be part of that collaboration, you should also be willing to work until late evenings, right? Because you need to maybe host a meeting or maybe introduce these team members to each other or maybe follow up with them or maybe have a call with them on a regular cadence, right? So you as a project manager should be willing to take that step as well, and that is what leading by example is all about. Okay, let's talk about deep understanding of customer needs. Now, this is point number 6, And I'd like to remind you, if you're getting value from this video so far, definitely drop a like, definitely consider subscribing, share this video with someone who you think might benefit from this, right? So, deep understanding of customer needs, there are certain things that you need to understand here. The first is effective communication. Now, understanding the client or the customer needs, right? This requires clear communication channels. And when we say effective communication, it is essential for maintaining project alignment and meeting milestones and deadlines. A lot of people out there, even project managers, a lot of project managers out there do not have this ability to speak to the customer and call a spade, right? And new project managers, of course, because they are relatively new and they don't know how the dynamic is, how the relationship is between them and how they are supposed to speak to the customer, they might promise the moon, which is not right. And that is why when we talk about understanding the customer needs, communication comes in that list, because you will be in a position, you will be in a situation where you might have to deliver the bad news to the customer. You might fall in a situation where you need to call a spade and you need to tell the customer that I cannot take any more requirements from you because the requirements are already baseline, right? So this is important when it comes to effective communication. It is not just about writing good emails. It is not just about being able to speak to the customer, being able to understand their accent if they are from a different country. That is all fine and dandy. That is a given. You are in this role, you are in this field of project management because you already have good communication skills. But when we talk about effective communication, I'm talking about these kind of scenarios: delivering bad news, telling the customer that a spade is a spade, I cannot take more requirements, right? So things like this is what basically constitutes the point effective communication, and that is why I took up this point under deep understanding of customer needs. The next is customer centric approach. One thing that I always suggest to all project managers out there, program managers out there, that you need to convey to your team members the very reason of this project is essentially a customer, is essentially a client, or a future customer, a future client, right? And we need to look at requirements. We need to look at the way we are delivering the project, the way our product is being designed or our service is being designed from the lenses of a customer, right? Wear the shoes of the customer and then use your service, use your product, and try to understand if it is helping the customer cause or not. And that is all about the customer centric approach. You need to know the customer, client, right? They facilitate the creation of a tailored plan that meets or surpasses their expectations. Satisfying the customer or the client, it contributes to project smoothness, even if there are minor setbacks, right? So if your customer knows, if your team members know that we are supposed to think from the lenses of the customer, we are supposed to look at this product or at this service from the eyes of the customer. If your team members understand this, if the customer also understands this, then even if there are setbacks, the customer or the client is going to be understanding enough of the fact that you have their best interest in your mind, right? You are doing certain things with the best interest of the customer, and they are going to be much more acceptable of the setbacks as well. So always have customer centric approach. If required, in fact wherever required, ensure that the customer or the client is involved in some sort of planning. Ensure that your plans are tailored according to the customer requirements. And finally, it's all about customer satisfaction, prioritizing the satisfaction, right? Not just the customer, but if you look at it from a broader perspective, this is all about stakeholder satisfaction as well, right? So customer is one of your most important stakeholder out there. So prioritizing customer satisfaction is going to aid in project success and even long-term relationships with your customer. If you have a thorough understanding of the customer, of their requirements, this is going to ensure project outcomes that align with their needs and what they essentially desire from the project. All right, let's talk about hack number 7, which is proactive problem solving and anticipation. And I'll agree here, this requires a bit of experience. This requires a bit of knack of project management, right? Of the kind of industry or the kind of projects that you're delivering to be able to anticipate, to be able to foresee, right? Or to be more proactive. But again, if we talk about imperfections, then obviously there are going to be some missteps as well. You have to acknowledge it. And as I said, for a new project manager, it is going to be difficult to be proactive, to anticipate or to be able to forecast the problems that might come during the course of the project, right? So that is what we are doing in the first point here. We are acknowledging those imperfections, right? We recognize that no project is going to unfold flawlessly. Changes are inevitable, right? And with those changes, challenges are also going to come in, right? So great project managers, they anticipate potential issues and they prepare accordingly. Now, this is where all this relationship building that we have done so far with your team members, with the customer, right? All of that is going to come into play, because if you have good working relationships with your customer, with your team members, if you face any imperfection, right? If you do any misstep, you can be sure that they are going to understand it. You can be sure that they are going to let it pass, and then obviously you can correct them. So the proactive approach is the second point here. The first thing was all about acknowledging the fact that you're new to this. There will be imperfections. You are going to face challenges. The second point is being proactive, right? Proactively identifying potential problems before they escalate, right? Before they become bigger problems. And having a plan in place beforehand, it is going to enable swift problem resolution, and it is also going to prevent minor issues from snowballing into larger ones. So basically, if you speak to your team members, if you do some sort of risk management as well, you deploy some sort of risk plans, you deploy the kind of risks that you might face, and you work on those risks, it is, and if you be proactive in all of this, it is likely that you are going to avoid large issues, right? Or minor issues that snowball into larger ones later. And finally, mitigating problem escalation. This is all about risk management. This is all about essentially ensuring that issues are addressed the earliest. So when you address issues early, mitigating problems, it essentially going to stop the escalation, stop the problems from snowballing into something larger, and this is going to minimize the impact that such problems are going to have on the progress of the project. Proactive problem solving, it is going to enhance project efficiency, and it is going to obviously reduce the likelihood of major setbacks. So being proactive in your approach, speaking to a lot of people, keeping in mind the kind of risks you have, and being proactive about those risks, taking steps to ensure that if any of the risks materialize, you have a plan B in place. If you're doing all of that, you will be essentially ensuring a smoother ride for your project. Remember, all projects come with their fair share of challenges. So you are going to face challenges, but just being proactive and being able to anticipate, being able to foresee is going to take you a long way. All right, let's talk about hack number 8, which is mastering project management software. So now we are essentially talking logistics, right? So your organization or your department might be using a certain software. for managing project, or even your customer or client might want you to use a certain software. There could be a shared software, a shared, maybe a software program that your customer and your organization use together to be able to track the progress of the project. So this point, since you are a new project manager, this point is all about mastering that software, right? So you need to understand the software stack. You have to fully comprehend the project management software stack. And when we say stack, it means if there are more than one software in play here, you need to understand all of them. You should invest time in learning any unfamiliar software and encourage team wide adoption as well, right? So you need to ensure that your team also understands this. So a lot of companies out there that had been doing, waterfall way of project management, and then they moved to the agile way of delivery, maybe Scrum. They also went ahead and got themselves a Jira, because Jira is pretty popular when it comes to delivering projects in an agile environment. So you as a project manager, you need to ensure that you understand Jira. You need to ensure that you make use of Jira. You take the training, but at the same time, you also need to ensure that there is a team-wide adoption of this new software, right? So if it's just you who understands it or you who uses it, and your team does not, then it's of no use, right? So that is why essentially ensuring that you know the kind of software that are required to run projects and your team also uses them. In certain scenarios, you might be required to select software as well. And this is where I'm talking about, let's say, communication with your team, right? Are you supposed to call them up for everything? Even if it's a small thing that you need from a certain team member, are you supposed to call them? Are you supposed to Zoom? Or are you supposed to use MS Teams? When it comes to, let's say, sending personal messages or instant messages, are you supposed to use Slack? Are you supposed to use Teams? Are you used to support Google Chat, whatever, right? So this is very important that you as a project manager select the suitable software that the team is comfortable with, and you set some kind of ground rules around it, that whenever there is a team meeting, it is going to take place on Zoom. Whenever there is an instant message that needs to be sent, it will be sent on Slack, whatever, right? So you should be able to select suitable software as well. Uh, Obviously, here, since you are new, or you should opt for software that you are familiar with, right? And always ensure whatever software that you're using, it has robust technical support as well, so that there are no inconveniences or potential issues later. And finally, you should be ensuring smooth operations. What does this mean? Proficiency in project management software is going to enhance efficiency and streamlines the entire operations, right? So this streamlines the entire operations. If you choose the right software and you master its use, it prevents unnecessary delays, setbacks, and sometimes it also helps in maximizing your productivity. I'll give you an example. A lot of people, they don't use, let's say, Windows laptop, and for your project, you ask the team members and you deploy, or you basically allot Windows laptops to them. They might not be comfortable because they are very comfortable using Apple Macs. So what's happening here is, you are, and this is not essentially a software thing, this is a hardware thing, but end of the day, even the software within that laptop is something that your team should be able to use and should be able to work on, to be able to maximize the productivity. So that is why electing or selecting software, opting for software that you are familiar with, that has some sort of technical support available, robust technical support, in fact, available, and your team is also comfortable in using. So this is very crucial when it comes to you being a successful project manager. always ensure the tools that you have are, you are comfortable, your team is comfortable using those tools and software. Self evaluation and continuous improvement. Honest evaluation is actually a gold mine. A lot of people don't honestly evaluate themselves. If you conduct a thorough and honest evaluation of your performance as a project manager, you are going to go way far. You can critique every aspect of your performance to identify strengths, and there could be areas of improvement as well. And you don't have to publish a blog on this and ask your team members to read it or whatever, right? What I'm saying is this is an honest evaluation of yourself for yourself, and you can keep it to yourself, and this is important for you to improve, right? This is how you are going to continuously improve. Secondly, it's all about understanding performance. You can reflect on what worked well and what didn't throughout the course of the project. And if you basically get a deeper understanding of your performance, it is going to prepare you for future projects and challenges as well. You might know yourself. This is where even emotional quotient comes into the picture, right? How do you behave, or how do you react when something doesn't work out? Do you know this? Do you identify this? And that is when you will be able to improve it, right? That is why that honest evaluation, right? Not just evaluation, but honest evaluation is important, so that in the future, if a similar situation arises, you know what needs to be done. Also, this is something, the first 2 points are something that you can do for yourself, with yourself. You don't need anyone else here, right? But the third point is about embracing feedback, and this is where you need to involve others as well. You need to get feedback in terms of your performance, but at the same time, you also need to acknowledge achievements that you might have essentially been able to achieve throughout the course of the project. You should always embrace constructive feedback, and you should take proactive steps to enhance your skills and effectiveness as a project manager. What is the path to success here? Identifying and addressing areas for improvement. It leads to continuous growth and success as a project manager. Those who strive for improvement, they become highly successful in their roles. Now, I'm talking about self evaluation here. I'm not talking about team evaluation. That is something that you as a project manager should already be doing. That is something that you as a project manager is already aware of, right? But if you want to grow, if you want to succeed in this field of project management, honest self evaluation is going to take you way ahead than others, because there are so many project managers, program managers out there that are not going to be honest with them when they do an evaluation of themselves. So many are not even going to do an evaluation of themselves, right? So that is the first step for continuous improvement. And this is something that you should keep in mind. And finally, I want to talk about project management certifications. If you are new, definitely consider getting yourself some kind of project management certification. If you are a pro and you are changing industries, get yourselves a certification that is related to that industry or that is popular in that industry. Because education, end of the day, should never ever stop. There are certain advantages that certification is going to, bring. If you are if you want to advance in your career, you would realize that a lot of project managers at an advanced stage are already certified. So that's a good reason to get yourselves the certification. And then obviously in the last step, we talked about self-evaluation. We talked about how you should find out where you lack. And if you lack there, formal training and formal education is going to help you in that area, right? So it is also something which can attract potential employers as well. Some considerations here: evaluate the time and financial commitment required for any kind of certification that you're going for. Assess whether you have the resources and even the dedication to undergo the certification process, because a lot of people come to me and they say they want PMP in 7 days, they want PMP in 14 days. Well, it requires a lot of dedication if you want to do so. A lot of people ask me that can we get PMP certification without reading any book, and that drives me crazy all times, at all times, right? There hasn't been a single situation when somebody told me that they want to get PMP certified but they don't want to read a book. Why do you want to get PMP certified if you're not even interested in reading one project management book? So, anyways, I'm not going to go into that rant, but definitely something to consider. Do you have the time, the patience, the resources to dedicate if you want to get yourselves any kind of certification, not specifically PMP? Then, obviously, there are company sponsorships available. A lot of companies out there, they offer to pay for project managers certifications, project management certifications. You can inquire with the HR about this, and you can, go through the enrollment procedures. Finally, proactive career investment. That's what project management certification is all about. I think if you're pursuing certification, it demonstrates that you have the commitment to the professional development, to the industry that you're in, to the field that you're in, right? You respect project management enough to dedicate time and efforts to get yourselves a certification. You respect project management field enough to read at least one book to get yourselves the certification, right? You respect project management enough that you actually continue reading books even after you are PMP certified. You continue on with your education, right? That is something which is all about investing in your career, right? So those were the 10 tips. If you want to talk to me, if you have any career goals, if you want to get your questions answered around the PMP certification, around project management career path, or project management in general, right? You can drop a note to admin@pmclounge.com. We have this opportunity. We have this ongoing program known as Lounge Access. Remember, we are PMC Lounge. So, Lounge Access is all about getting access to me, and you can talk to me right away. I hope you're finding some good nuggets in this live stream, by the way. If you are, go ahead and drop a like and let me know. I'm curious. What are your thoughts about what we've talked about today? Is there anything that you would like to add, right? And if you want to again discuss anything with me, Lounge Access is where you should be going to. By the way, if you have not noticed yet, we are in the last call section of this live stream, which means we are going to be ending soon. This is one of the testimonials that I recently received. If you have any feedback, you can drop it at pmclounge.com/write, and it will be something which is going to help us stay motivated, and it is going to help us keep going. So that's all that I had in this one. I hope you got value out of this live stream. Definitely subscribe. Looking forward to catch you in the next one. If you like our work, consider contributing by heading over to pmclounge.com/contribute. Don't forget to check out our website, pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP and project management resource. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.